Have you ever woken up, scrolled through your phone, and stumbled on a headline so unbelievable that you had to rub your eyes twice just to make sure you weren't dreaming? Well, that's exactly what happened when whispers began swirling that Prince Harry himself had leaked devastating secrets about Meghan Markle. Secrets so explosive they allegedly spiraled into the most shocking twist yet. Rumors of an arrest tied to hidden financial scandals. Sounds unreal, right? The golden couple who left the palace to find freedom, now trapped in a narrative darker than anything Netflix could script. But here's the thing, every scandal has breadcrumbs. And Harry, whether by accident or by intent, seems to have dropped the entire loaf. But before we continue, please subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell for more updates. The curious case of Harry's accidental honesty. Let's start with a question. What happens when the man who swore to protect his wife at all costs becomes the one pulling back the curtain on her most guarded secrets? According to insiders, real or imagined in this exposed-style saga, Harry found himself backed into a corner. Pressure from the royal family, tension with Meghan, and whispers that the couple's glossy image was cracking under the weight of reality. Harry's solution? He allegedly spilled everything. Not just little family squabbles, but financial details that point towards something far more sinister. Money meant for children's hospitals quietly detoured into private accounts. Now pause for a second and imagine the optics. The same Meghan who has stood on global stages championing compassion, kindness, and philanthropy, suddenly accused of siphoning funds away from vulnerable children? It's the kind of revelation that doesn't just dent reputations. It detonates them when the cameras weren't rolling. You see, one of the most fascinating things about the Sussexes' story is how curated it's always been. Think about it. Every interview, every documentary, every press release has been carefully orchestrated, polished, and edited to present a narrative of triumph against adversity. But life doesn't play out like a Netflix special. Behind the cameras, there are late-night arguments, frantic phone calls, and paperwork that can't be explained away by a smiling photo op. That's where this scandal begins to look less like a rumor and more like a ticking time bomb. Because if Harry has indeed leaked documents, conversations, or private admissions, it means he's essentially handed critics the very ammunition they've been waiting for. Why would Harry do this? Here's the million-dollar question. Why would Prince Harry betray Meghan in such a devastating way? There are three possible answers, each more intriguing than the last. 1. The slip of the tongue theory. Maybe Harry didn't mean to reveal anything. Perhaps in a moment of frustration or misplaced trust, he opened up to someone who wasn't as loyal as he thought. One careless line, one off-the-record remark, and suddenly the world knows what it was never supposed to hear. 2. The cry for help theory. Could it be that Harry, suffocated by the weight of constant scandals, wanted out? Leaking secrets could have been his desperate way of signaling that all was not well in Montecito. A whistleblower in royal clothing. 3. The calculated move theory. And then there's the most controversial explanation of all. Harry knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted Meghan exposed, not protected. But why? Revenge? Regret? Or simply the pressure of carrying secrets too heavy to keep? Each theory opens a new rabbit hole. And trust me, this story is one giant warren of tunnels. The arrest rumors that sent shockwaves. Now here's where things get even darker. Reports began trickling in that Meghan was allegedly facing questions from authorities. Nothing confirmed, nothing on the record, but enough noise to fuel a frenzy. And what was the spark? The financial scandal Harry supposedly laid bare. Hidden bank accounts, mysterious wire transfers, donors demanding answers. The narrative quickly snowballed. Charity money missing. Meghan under investigation. Prince Harry leaks expose everything. It was the perfect storm of royal drama meets financial crime thriller. And like any storm, it left the public stunned, glued to every update, wondering whether the woman who once graced magazine covers as a global humanitarian could now be staring down legal consequences. The public backlash. Here's something we often forget. Public opinion is fickle. One day, Meghan is the world's darling, applauded for breaking barriers and speaking truth to power. The next, She's cast as a villain in a Shakespearean drama of money, lies, and betrayal. Social media lit up like a bonfire. If this is true, she deserves everything coming. No way, this has to be another smear campaign. Why would Harry throw his wife under the bus like that? Everyone had an opinion and nobody held back. But buried beneath the noise was one chilling realization. If Harry really had leaked these secrets, then this wasn't just a royal feud. This was a marriage unraveling under the weight of secrets too heavy to hide. A marriage built on secrets? Let's step back for a moment. Harry and Meghan's love story has always been presented as a fairy tale. Two outsiders finding solace in each other against a hostile world. But what if, from the very beginning, secrets were the silent third party in their marriage? Secrets about family. Secrets about money. Secrets about power. It's one thing to fight the press together. It's another thing entirely when the battle is inside your own home. Because once trust cracks, it doesn't just fracture, it shatters. And if Harry's leak was intentional, then it suggests something far worse than scandal. It suggests betrayal. The cliffhanger. So here we are. A prince allegedly turning whistleblower. A duchess rumored to be under investigation. A marriage teetering on the edge. But the biggest question hasn't even been asked yet. What exactly did Harry leak? And how deep does this financial scandal really go? Because if the whispers are even half true, the rabbit hole we're about to enter will make everything we've seen so far look like child's play. The secret trail of money, how charity funds allegedly went missing. Have you ever wondered where your donations really go? You know the routine. Glossy charity campaigns, emotional ads with children's hospitals in the background, and smiling ambassadors telling you that every penny counts. You swipe your card, click Donate Now, and feel that warm glow of doing something good. But what if, just what if, those pennies weren't reaching the children you thought they were? What if, instead, they were being quietly rerouted into private accounts, tucked away far from the hospitals, far from the sick children, and far from the noble causes they were meant to support? That's the allegation hanging over Meghan Markle. And the man fanning the flames? Her own husband, Prince Harry. The missing millions puzzle. Let's rewind. According to the Expo-style trail of this saga, charities linked to Meghan were meant to funnel significant sums into children's hospitals, pediatric programs, and grassroots medical research. The numbers looked great on paper. Millions pledged. Thousands of donors. Endless photo ops showcasing compassion and generosity. But when auditors, or so the whispers claim, started digging deeper, things didn't quite add up. Some donations vanished in the ether unaccounted for. A few wire transfers ended up flagged as irregular. And whispers began. Where did the money really go? The Montecito accounts. And here's where things get cinematic. Buried in financial records, investigators allegedly uncovered private accounts tied not to the charities, not to the hospitals, but to shell companies and trusts linked back to Montecito. Yes, that Montecito. The luxurious Californian estate where Harry and Meghan carved out their new life after leaving the royal fold. Now imagine the headlines. Charity funds rerouted to Montecito accounts. The optics alone are devastating. It wasn't just about the missing money, it was about the betrayal of trust. Donors weren't just giving to a cause. They were giving because they believed in the Sussexes' story. Believed that the couple represented hope, compassion, and something bigger than the monarchy they left behind. And if those donations really did vanish into private accounts, that's more than mismanagement. That's scandal. Harry's role in the revelation. But here's the twist. None of this would have surfaced without Harry. Sources claim that in a moment of brutal honesty, Harry revealed financial details that tied everything together. Perhaps it was during a heated argument. Perhaps it was while venting to someone he thought he could trust. Or perhaps, just perhaps, it was intentional. Whatever the case, Harry allegedly described in detail the existence of accounts, the irregularities, and the financial gaps charities were trying to quietly plug. That one slip was like dropping a lit match in a room full of gasoline. Why charity scandals hit harder? Let's pause here and ask, why do financial scandals sting so deeply when they involve charities? Because charities aren't supposed to be about profit. They're about hope. They're about healing. They're about sick children in hospital beds who need medicine, parents praying for miracles, and communities rallying around the most vulnerable. When money disappears in corporate scandals, it feels like business as usual. But when money vanishes in the name of helping children, it feels unforgivable. It feels like betrayal on the deepest human level. And that's why this particular scandal struck such a nerve. The paper trail nobody wanted to see. The more you pull at the thread, the more the whole sweater unravels. Allegedly, financial analysts traced suspicious transfers, large sums moved just days after high-profile fundraising events. Shell companies, entities with no real staff or operations, existing only on paper. Tax havens, funds funneled through accounts in locations known for secrecy. All roads seemed to lead back to one central figure, Meghan. And Harry? He had provided the map. The tension in Montecito. Behind the walls of their sprawling Montecito mansion, things were anything but serene. Imagine the scene. Meghan demanding to know how her husband could have been so careless. Harry insisting he never meant for things to spiral. Voices raised, doors slammed, the pressure cooker reaching boiling point. Neighbors whispered about arguments that carried into the night. Staff noticed the frost between them at breakfast. And while the cameras still caught their practiced smiles, insiders say the truth was far less picture-perfect. Harry had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. The media frenzy. When word of the alleged financial irregularities reached the press, it was like throwing raw meat into a cage of lions. Every outlet wanted the scoop. Every headline screamed scandal. Royal rebels or royal con artists? Meghan Markle's charity shame. Prince Harry exposes his wife's financial secrets. For the tabloids, it was a dream come true. For Meghan, it was a nightmare. Her carefully cultivated image as a global humanitarian was collapsing in real time. The children's hospital angle. One of the most heartbreaking elements of the story was the revelation that some of the diverted funds had allegedly been earmarked for children's hospitals. Picture it. A hospital struggling to fund a new pediatric wing. Doctors begging for resources. Parents clinging to hope. And then discovering that money raised in their name might have never reached them. Even the faintest suggestion of this was catastrophic. Because if true, it wasn't just about broken laws. It was about broken trust with the most vulnerable of all sick children. Meghan's silence. What did Meghan do in the face of all this? Nothing. Or at least nothing publicly. Her silence became deafening. Some argued it was dignity, that she wouldn't dignify baseless allegations with a response. Others saw it as guilt, that she had no defense. But silence in scandals like this speaks volumes. And every day Meghan stayed quiet, the rumors grew louder. The cliffhanger. And here's the part that leaves everyone gasping. Rumors swirled that federal investigators had started asking questions. That subpoenas were being drafted. That what started as whispers in the tabloids was now echoing through the halls of law enforcement. And the man who made it all possible, Harry. Which begs the question, did Harry just accidentally expose the mother of all scandals? Or did he deliberately hand his wife to the wolves?